All right. Hello everyone. Welcome to a very special episode of our brand new series, Untold Side of the Mind, where we delve deep into the fascinating and lesser known aspects of the human mind. And today, I'm thrilled to have back with us a repeat guest who never fails to inspire and enlighten, Yogi Sanjivana. So, Yogi Sanjivana is not only a celebrated yogi, but also a thinker, a mind expert whose deep understanding of the mind body connection has transformed countless lives across the globe. As part of this Untold Side of the Mind series, we will explore myths, truths, and powerful practices related to the mind. So, bringing you practical wisdom to enhance your everyday life. In the last episode, which is the fourth episode of this series, we have discovered the power of the mind. And today is our fifth episode, and we are here to cover more details around angry mind. So, in the first four sessions, we covered the topics like introduction about mind, followed by wholesome mind, powered by power of the mind, and the last one, the most recent one being greedy mind. So, today let us understand the angry mind in detail. So, Yogi Sanjeevana, hearty welcome and welcome back to TGV platform. How are you doing today?
Oh, thank you so much, Naveen. It's a great pleasure, as always, to be here. And
Yeah,
I'm doing fine. Uh, and I got to know that you also went on a very nice journey, on a lot of good causes. So
yeah,
it's very nice to see you also again, Naveen.
yeah. Thank you. So, I went to Europe and the trip was really, really productive, and I got to witness a lot of great things that are happening in Germany and Slovakia. So, which is an enlightening experience. So,
Oh,
again,
wonderful.
I'm already back in India last Saturday and back into action. All right. So, first, let us start with angry mind. So, what exactly is an angry mind? I would like to understand. Is it a temporary emotional state or does it go deeper into our subconscious?
It's a great question, Naveen. So actually, we are talking here about, for example, uh, we are not talking about something like people are bad or it's such angry person or this is a horrible person. None of that. We
Yeah.
all carry like bits of this until we are
Hmm.
enlightened,
Yeah.
until we totally get free from all these things. So there are levels and extents of this. But we are
Hmm.
talking about, for example, say this is the mind, and then
Hmm.
a mental object arises, right, in the mind. Usually our greedy mind, as we explained last time, it like kind of like clings to the object. It
Hmm.
clings, try to grasp it. But the opposite is like the angry mind, it rejects it. It can be physically, it can be mentally. Even the body sometimes rejects some things, no? Even if you do operation sometimes and it feels like it's not a part of the body, even a thorn for
Right.
sure, right? Uh,
Yeah.
then it has like a mechanism to like cope up with it. Even the mind, what happens, but mind is bit more trickier. The thing is like mind, even the mental object, when it comes, it rejects the mental. Sometimes it can be a good mental object also. Just like body in some cases, no? Some good
Yeah.
food, or even like if you do a surgery and have to put a, how to say, a transplant, or some metallic object for that matter,
Hmm.
as a support. Sometimes the body tends to reject it. So
Hmm.
there are things like that also happening. So we are talking about the moment like the mind meets. So it can be as well as a emotion, or in the thought process, as you mentioned. So
Yeah.
emotionally wise also. So from the depths of your mind, it can come as an emotion or as sensations or verbally or even physically, and it can
Hmm.
traumatize. It can do so many things. So
Yeah.
in different ways, different aspects.
Hmm. So I have an interesting question here. Many a times anger is seen as a negative emotion, but I would like to understand, does it serve any positive purpose in our lives, if at all?
Ha ha ha. To be 100% honest, Naveen,
Mm-hmm.
it's difficult to say that it brings a positive aspect, because it
Okay.
hurts. Usually in ancient wisdom, it says like, if I'm angry with you, Naveen, I
Mm.
don't know for what reason, but then then it's like I am holding a red hot piece of iron and saying, Naveen, burn, burn, Naveen, no? But I am the one who's
Mm.
getting burned. But there are
Right.
sometimes like aggression or some, for example, if a child is being bullied, or if
Mm-hmm.
there's some robbery or something that is going to happen to you. But we'll talk about that also. Uh, like some kind of aggression in the sense like standing up to that moment can be helpful to avoid that situation. But that also, it's good if we can do in a way that doesn't trigger anger. You can be firm, you
Mm-hmm.
can be strong, but without the anger part also. But usually the natural tendency is like the anger rises. Even for climate or anything, some people hate. They say, I don't like this hot. No, it's so hot. Or like it's so cold. Or I hit my foot on the way on a route or the table or chair. Then it still anger comes, right? But the
Yeah.
chair didn't know and it was not waiting for you. Okay, come, come, come. I'll hit your leg or something, right? It didn't know. It was not
Yeah.
waiting for you. Okay, you come out of the room. I'll kick your leg or something. No, no. So, like you can see
Yeah.
the different trigger points that anger arises. Not only people, not only situations, even the climate or something you ate or I really hated that. No, some people say,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, and then even some good things we like, it can switch quickly, and then anger can arise now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. And how does this anger impact our brain, body, and energy field? And is there any thing that we can cover both from scientific as well as yogic perspective?
Uh-huh. Science also shows anger as a thing like a how to say like uh, it says so in the emotional side as well as the mental
Mm-hmm.
side, no? And where the
Mm.
brain and all starts functioning, and it doesn't show as a
Mm.
positive factor because it's very damaging and harmful, and you can take even your decision making and all in the parts of the brain uh, that are affected, or people can get a stroke or some blood vessel or something can erupt by anger. So in spiritually, definitely it says, Naveen, it's like a high voltage. Yeah? It's like a high voltage, but it's more visible than things like greed, because you feel it. You feel people's face changing, the actions, even the way they talk, or they start breathing faster. Even when you're talking and when they become angry, or ourselves also when we become angry, we can slowly feel like the words and all becoming more, or sometimes either you cannot talk even properly, no, sometimes.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm.
so you can see, but and it says it's like high voltage. For example,
Hmm.
if
Hmm.
our houses were 110 or 220, say like 18,000, 36,000, or 84,000 suddenly comes the way. What happens?
Yeah.
The all the appliances in the house and all will just start melting or burning, right? It can
Yeah.
burst. So likewise, the heart and the organs in the body cannot. It's very difficult to withstand. So according to the time we have been angry in our life, thank goodness these are still there.
Yeah.
Like
Hmm.
to withstand all our things we have been putting up. We should be
Hmm.
grateful for our bodies also to be like with us for now, until now. Uh, and in psychological side also, you can just lose everything. Some people
Hmm.
just go into some disorder, depression, anxiety, these things, even suicidal.
Yeah.
They can turn into places like that and just think like, because you know Navin, they have seen this is in a way that's how they find like, was this a homicide or is it a suicide? When especially people when they try to do that act, uh, like then they see like, because they become angry and they try to take, no, end it. And then after that, what happens? They see marks on especially their thigh region and all, like scratching, because they are later in a struggle.
Yeah.
But if it's the opposite, it doesn't happen like that. So people can take rash decisions. I have seen a couple of, I had to be after that, just to get, and it is very saddening, no? And
Yep.
you feel very sad, like, oh, if they at least came to us, no, or talked to us. Then you get to hear, and when you, it's one or two incidents like that in the whole lifetime. And then when you, so then you see, like, they take a rash decision. And then later, what happens is, because life comes up later on, then they struggle, then they hurt their knee regions and the thigh regions, trying to escape from that.
Yeah.
So people can take like very rash decisions out of nowhere, even the worst of them all, or even in a uh, scenario, through anger. So in psychologically, scientifically, spiritually, everywhere, we don't see much of a positive aspect in this. Only thing, it can bring a boost of energy, sudden boost of energy. So sometimes with rage and all, you can do something unbelievable.
Yeah.
Uh, so sometimes in a desperate situation, some people, maybe just breaking a door, or like freeing themselves from somewhere, or escaping some big situation. It
Yeah.
can happen, but that also the chances can be 50-50 or less or more. Uh, and some people just freeze because of anger. Some people become more afraid. So there are different things that can happen.
Yeah, got it. And also, if at all somebody is not processing their anger, does it manifest as physical illness or maybe blockages in our chakras?
Yeah, surely. Yeah, the imbalance of chakras.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Imbalance of the chakras, because chakras are 7 main points, no? Like
Right.
junction
Yeah.
points.
Yeah.
And then what happens is, either they are too closed or too open.
Hmm.
So then what happens is, yeah, definitely it's the imbalance of these chakras. And because if it's a balance, people will be more harmonious, peaceful, and they will be unified, with more pleasant things. But this is not a pleasant sensation or feeling or emotion or thought process. Even the body feels it, no? That's why
Yeah.
now in sometimes people have rashes in their body.
Mm-hmm.
Some people get paralyzed. They don't know even the
Hmm.
proper reason. Sometimes migraines, headaches, because it has to go through our body.
Hmm.
When it's going through our body, it affects even the most vital organs, as well as the subtlest of places. Like you will have eating disorders, either too much or too less, sleeping disorders. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's the total opposite of when the chakras are balancing or balanced. Huh? Then you can have very nice sleep. You are very healthy. You can eat well. You are very happy and balanced throughout the day, even your life. So yeah, it's quite a bit of a negative aspect or effect.
Hmm. Yeah, got it. And is there any connection between past trauma and an easily triggered angry mind?
Oh yeah, surely. Yeah, there are people like that. They are called actually dosa charita. Charita means
Hmm.
character. Huh?
Hmm. Hmm.
And then
Hmm.
there are characters, no, like loba charita, more towards the greedy side.
Right.
Dosa charita means more towards the angry side. Huh?
Hmm.
And then moha charita means like ignorance plays a bigger role in their life. We should not categorize, but one should know for themselves. Huh?
Yeah.
And then there are people with lot of faith, for
Hmm.
lot of generosity, lot of wisdom. There's the good side, not only the bad side, right? There are characters, and there could be different characters in the same person, also at different stages in life or different moments of life. Not that they have bipolar or something like that, but at one time we can be fully generous. Then we might say, "Oh, should I need to do this?" No, can feel little bit stingy, or like you go full ballistic and like,
Hmm.
I don't like this at all. But next time you could be the best person in the whole surrounding or the whole no
Hmm.
world
Hmm.
even. Because no, so it can change. I'm not telling that, but there are more, like you see the patterns and the nature of this person. There are some people like they just want to fight, huh? Or pick on a fight, or even if you say, oh, who are you, no, like they come to onto you, or even if they say like actually I'll try to connect the dots. They say like a fly cannot go in front of their nose. huh? So actually it's connected to like an animal, right?
Hmm.
Usually
Yeah.
the pets in our house, if like a fly goes, they try to snap on it, no? So as an ancient
Yeah.
saying, it's like when a fly goes in front of their nose, they get angry.
Right.
So you
Right.
can, there's a past life connection also like that. Some
Hmm.
people tend to have lifespans that were
Hmm.
more related to anger. It could be from the
Hmm.
animal kingdom. Some are like, I'm not telling people are bad, but we can be born in places like that. For
Right.
example, like yakka they call, like uh, entities, but they are more demonic. Huh? So
Yeah. Yeah.
in many cultures that believe, or like traditions that they believe in past lives and all, this is a possibility. We are not always no. Even if evolution talks like animal becoming a human, there will be plenty of
Hmm.
times that anger can arise as animals, right? Even if
Yeah.
humans.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if you talk in a more spiritual way, or
Hmm.
like a real way of understanding, that's why these trends start to come out of us also. They say, don't bring the devil in me.
Yeah. Hmm.
And they say, no, I'm good for good, but don't bring my bad side out. Some people say like this, right?
Yeah. True.
Some
True.
people
Yeah.
threaten also. Because
Yeah.
we have, it's not just all good, it's not all bad. It's like a collective. Then collective of all good and bad. So we pull out the straws. So this can happen in our uh, uh, when we are in our mother's womb, and as children also, Navin. Parents
Hmm.
also
Hmm.
have
Hmm.
to play a
Hmm.
big role in this, and
Yeah.
society. And they say
Hmm.
what we associate, we become. Huh?
Hmm.
For example,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
see, like if we are a boxer, it's very difficult to
Hmm.
punch without anger, right?
Right.
Huh? How can we punch another person to just knock them out even? We cannot even really open uh, our hands and just pick a fight, right? When we don't
Right.
need
Right.
to. Huh?
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
just go there and start punching each other. You need some kind of rage, no? Other how to do? Maybe you train yourself, but still you
Hmm.
need, no? So
Yeah. Yeah.
this has a big connection more the why other some people are less and some people are more. So we have this. It's like fire under, or like sparks under the fire, or coals under the fire. So ashes, sorry, ashes. Like
Hmm.
the ashes under the ashes, and then there can be trigger points. But some people have more, and it is said they can have like close links to places where they had more associated more anger in their previous
Hmm.
lives also, Naveen.
Hmm. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
current situation also definitely will
Hmm. Hmm.
affect how they are.
Hmm.
Say a
Hmm.
person working in a hazardous environment, or a family situation, or relationship, uh, or even child, or some abuse situation, the anger can arise even more, Naveen.
Right. Right. Yeah. So, other thing is, when it comes to dealing with anger, somebody suppress it and somebody express it aggressively. So, in your
Uh-huh.
opinion, what is the right way to deal with the anger?
Uh-huh. Yeah, in a way, expressing is a way of putting it out, Naveen. I'm
Hmm.
not telling it's the most healthiest way. Huh? That doesn't mean
Hmm.
people have to go fight each other, or argue with each other. There are ways of
Hmm.
venting it out. Some
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
take a
Yeah.
box the punching bag and start punching the backdrop.
Mm.
Some people go for a long run, maybe, or a
Mm.
cycle, just to
Yeah. Yeah.
exhaust that energy that came up already, or the rage
Mm.
that
Mm.
came out. Huh?
Yeah.
Or you
Yeah.
can just talk to somebody,
Mm.
maybe
Mm.
even a
Mm.
counselor or a psychiatrist, or even one of your good friends or your partner. Huh? And we have to put it out. Uh, some people go for a fight or argument, but it's like a short burst. And
Mm.
luckily,
Mm. Mm.
sometimes
Mm.
the partner or the friends or those people who are associating them close by, they know this. So they know
Right.
like it will end so quickly as it came. But some people now,
Mm.
they
Mm.
keep it deep inside. And
Right.
it can slowly turn even into like taking revenge. And the worst is it
Mm-hmm.
starts eating this person from inside.
Inside.
Then,
Mm-hmm.
so in a way, like there are people who are even paralyzed because of this anger now. They kept it
Mm-hmm.
inside, and sometimes even the other person didn't know, they didn't even express this their whole life. Maybe some dislike or some other thing reason, and it started eating them from inside, which was very
Yeah.
harmful, especially for that person. But the best method is if you can find methods, for example, meditation or other holistic or good methods of. We'll talk about them in the
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
other parts maybe, but of anger management, no methods of anger management. So if we can like find methods like really like if you can build a buffer zone, or if you can have pre-arrangement or precautions before it happens, huh? Then the amount of suffering you also have to go through, other people also have to go through, and you don't have to keep it inside. You can let it
Mm-hmm.
just disperse then and there,
Yeah.
or get it
Mm.
neutralized. And best way is like there are meditation methods or anything. If you can become enlightened, that will be perfect. Then never
Mm.
anger will never arise no more. But there are some meditation, for example, like loving kindness meditation. It's the
Mm.
opposite
Mm.
of anger, Naveen. It's like a
Right.
remedy. If our mind was a red hot piece of metal, loving kindness meditation is like pouring water on it and cooling it
Mm-hmm.
off. More
Yeah.
anger means we are putting more and more fuel and burning it more and more. It doesn't help.
Got it. Mm-hmm.
Okay?
And yeah, yeah. And how about breathing techniques? Can they diffuse anger instantly?
Yeah, surely. Yeah, there's a specific even science and all and psychologists they say
Mm.
like even a method like 478. 478. Breathing in 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep it in 1, 2, 3,
Mm-hmm.
4, 5, 6, 7, and then
Mm.
slowly release it 1, 2, 3,
Mm.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So
Hey.
that
Mm-hmm.
brings a lot of energy, keeps it in for some time, and
Mm-hmm.
then starts releasing it. Or
Oh.
so
Mm.
there's pranayama, these kind of methods. Or even they say like even if person gets really angry and is
Mm.
seeking some kind of weapon, even if they have a gun or something like that in their house,
Mm-hmm.
they say just stop and take a few deep breaths. That forget
Yeah.
about the count even. That
Mm-hmm.
small space, the moment of time can
Mm.
prevent you from a huge disaster, and that can be the vital point from a disaster or a non-disaster. So
Mm.
even
Mm-hmm.
psychologists say just stay there, take a deep breath or few deep breaths. So surely, Naveen, like it changes the process, it changes the channels, and it
Mm-hmm.
gives you a big space to think than
Yeah.
acting rationally. No?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's a
Got it.
great
And
thing you brought
also,
it up.
yeah. So and also, can we recognize when anger is valid and when it is an overreaction due to some inner wounds? Is it really possible to recognize?
Yeah. Through proper understanding, through proper guidance, even
Mm-hmm.
counselors or like mentors, coaches with our good
Hmm.
friends, we can see, yeah, uh, because mental wounds and all that can
Hmm.
trigger from anything. When you talk to some
Hmm.
people, you cannot even speak some specific words with them sometimes.
Right. Right.
They say, this triggers me. I'm sorry, don't tell
Okay.
me that. it
Hmm.
triggers. So
Right.
ourselves also we can see, like, if there's continuous pattern that is happening,
Hmm.
and then
Hmm.
even
Hmm.
if a word can trigger you, and these people sometimes you feel sorry, like, or sad, they say, I'm
Hmm.
very sorry, but
Hmm.
I cannot listen to that word, which is a
Hmm.
normal word
Hmm.
for us, which is not a
Hmm.
bad
Hmm.
word, which is not a dangerous thing or anything. Huh?
Right.
But
Hmm.
when you
Hmm.
mention that word, particular word, they get triggered. So if it's an abuser, they can actually use that words to like harm them, like
I
press
see.
their buttons, right? So now in
Yeah.
the righteousness is bit difficult to say as such of this, because if it hurts yourself and the others, but
Yeah.
standing up for something is a different thing.
Hmm.
There was
Hmm.
a nice story also from ancient times, actually in India. So there was a bodhisattva cobra, beautiful king cobra, it seems. Huh?
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
And
Yeah. Hmm.
so he also was associating another bodhisattva,
Hmm.
uh, and for people who are practicing for like Buddhahood and all, right? Uh,
Hmm. Hmm.
so uh, this snake, although it was very powerful and strong and everything, was very gentle.
Okay. Hmm. Hmm.
So
Hmm.
what happened was this uh, cobra used to come in the evening and meet like the other bodhisattva who was like a hermit in the forest.
Hmm.
Huh?
Hmm. Hmm.
And every evening he would come and visit him and go, no? And somehow
Hmm.
they
Hmm.
could communicate, maybe through their minds, they could communicate. And they would ask, no, how are you, and all these things. One day the cobra came like with twisting and turning and with so much difficulty, and came with him. So his friend, this other hermit or the bodhisattva, asked, like, my friend, what happened to you today? Huh?
Hmm.
And then how to say, the snake had told, the king cobra had told, oh, my friend, I went through a lot of trouble today. Then he asked, like,
I
what
see.
happened to you? You know what?
Hmm.
I was in the forest and all this. There were some ladies who came to pick firewood.
Hmm.
Huh? Then I was there. Soon as they saw me, they had already piled up some firewood. They became afraid. But being myself, I was just there. I didn't want to scare them. And I was just there, no? Then you know
Right.
what happened? After some time, they didn't have a piece of rope to tie their firewood. So they took me and tied me as the fire, like the rope. And because
Hmm.
of that, I broke my bones and all and twisted my body. Huh?
Hmm.
And then they let me loose after they went to the village and dropped the firewood. They let me loose, no? And
Yeah.
then what happens? Like, the other hermit asked, like, you are a cobra, right? Huh?
Yeah.
You are King Cobra, right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
don't have to
Hmm.
bite them. You just may open your hood and you can just
Hmm.
like just puff a little, right?
Right.
They would not. So there are times like that. You don't have to bite them. You don't have to be venomous, but you can show your caliber, not with
Right.
aggression even. Oh, that means you can
Hmm.
take a stand. Please don't do that. I don't like it. Or a big thing is a no for an answer. Oh, I don't want it. No. So there are some points that can be very, how to say, we can say that is very righteous in the sense, Naveen.
Okay. Hmm. Hmm. And are there any daily practices to cultivate a calm and balanced mind so that we can? You said about enlightening, right? So, if at all we can cultivate a calm and balanced mind, can we get enlightened so that anger doesn't come our way?
Yeah, yeah. Surely, yeah. So, example, I'll just mention two things, Naveen.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Or three even. If we have like
Hmm.
moral vows or something we protect. For
Hmm. Hmm.
example, I will not hurt any living being.
Right.
I will not talk any harsh speech or something. That
Hmm.
keeps
Hmm.
like a fence from us committing something like that. So that is like
Okay.
a outer filtration process. Huh?
Hmm.
We can be stern, we can be strong, but we don't have to use filth. No, we don't have to use
Yeah.
bad language. Huh? We
Hmm.
can be very
Yeah.
strong in our words, right? And
Yeah.
direct. So that is
Hmm.
one filtration. The next one is
Hmm.
like using practices like mindfulness, huh? And knowing good and bad. and thinking before we talk, should I say this, should I not? That is another way. Huh?
I see.
Another thing is like if you can daily grow a practice of loving kindness, Naveen, what
Mm-hmm.
happens is it starts cooling the mind. When it
Right.
starts cooling the mind, actually it's the opposite of anger. It's called
Right.
adosa actually. Dosa is anger, opposite is
Others.
adosa. So then
Others.
what
Mm-hmm.
happens is, uh, because we have these things inside, like sediments, say it's a pool, Navin, then there's
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, there's the sediment of anger inside. And if it's more, even if a wind blows and the water ripples, there's a big stir up. Uh,
Right.
But even if it's in the depths and somebody takes a stick and starts poking it, then what, even if you say, okay, be calm, I be calm, but they really start poking it, right? Then now it
Yeah.
starts coming at some point. And that can
Mm.
come in a big way, like a volcano even. Uh, But in loving kindness meditation, what we do is we build a bigger force of loving kindness. Then whatever, even if something that is coming from outside, we have more power here.
Right.
And
Right.
then for a person, we have a lot of respect. Person who we care a lot, or a neutral person, even a person we don't really like. Uh, we
Mm.
don't we don't have to like everybody, no. Uh,
Yeah.
so there are no people like, okay, like, uh, maybe we don't fit in, no, that's okay. We can
Mm-hmm.
disagree, that's also fine. Uh,
Yeah.
so but there is no inner anger or hatred or anything towards you. Uh, so likewise, for you get the same kind of concentration or mentality to the same, and you don't
Mm.
feel discomfortable or agitation or irritation. And the best way, Naveen, is to remove that sediment forever. So for that,
Mm-hmm.
there are practices like you can use the loving kindness. There are until jhana or dhyana. That is very powerful. The third jhana. You can use
Mm.
it as a base or anapanasati or anything like that. And then you can do deep vipassana practices.
Mm-hmm.
Then more deeper you go, you understand here also, you there is no a person or a thing forever. And
Mm-hmm.
then it's like a mind and a body thing that is happening, and even
Right.
ever fast changing process. So if there's nothing here, if we experience that in reality, what we see from outside also, because it is not who you are, I see with my eyes. It's
Mm-hmm.
just maybe an image of you. Huh? Like we see now, no, you are in India, I'm here. I
Yeah.
see an image of you, and these are pixels creating this, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
through
Mm.
signals.
Mm.
So
Mm.
then, if I'm angry and if I smash the screen, it's come on, no,
Right.
it's crazy, right? So
Yeah.
likewise, what I see from my eyes is something that is a real close particle or a
Mm.
consciousness with the eye or the mind. So if we it's like trying to smash your own screen just because of an image on the screen.
Mm.
Huh? So likewise, what comes to the mind is even more subtle or fragile. Like like you're becoming afraid of a dream.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
So if we realize that, Naveen, then even in the outward circumstances, if something happens, there's nothing to stir up no more. And you
Yeah.
can actually
Mm.
eradicate those defilements forever even.
Mm.
Let it go through
Yeah.
experience and understanding and deep, deep, deep wisdom that comes through very powerful mindfulness as well as powerful concentration.
Yeah. Yeah. Got it. And also we see this outrage on social media. How does this collective anger impact
Uh-huh.
society as a whole?
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's a good thing to ask. Yeah, it's very negative. It can
Hmm.
end up in wars like we saw in many places.
Right.
Huh? We see,
Currently,
like
yeah.
people, and it can be
Hmm.
very easily triggered also now. Some people, even
Hmm.
with sinister ideas,
Hmm.
they can trigger. And there are
Right.
plenty of keyboard warriors who just want to pick a fight behind the screens, even for good things, and they just want to commit hate comments and all these things. They can create like the hackers and all, right?
Yeah.
So some like really want to bring turmoil or just
Hmm. Hmm.
problems for people, no? So like
Yeah.
us, not everybody, but some want to really are very disruptive, no? So
Yeah.
likewise, there are people who can just trigger something, but worst is it can be politically or some for other sinister reasons. A hidden agenda can be brought up through things like social media. So we see, like we saw and see also in many places. I'm not telling everything is bad or anything like that. Some are true, no? Some people go through so much injustice that this is like a voice for them. But there are instances. But the best thing is, yeah, I was used to go to those chats and put something. But later I understood some people on this YouTube comments or like social media places and all, they are just doing for
Hmm.
the fun of it. They want to trigger people. Yeah, and there's even a strategy like negative, how to say, negative marketing. So they trigger things or do silly videos or very provoking things. You see some influencers and all, they do pranks and these kind of
Yeah.
things which are very
Indeed.
irritating, but they get the likes and the comments and all these things as a negative attraction or so. But the most dangerous thing is, Naveen, like if it triggers something very bad, uh, then it can be very, and most of all in a personal sense, you have to go and then you suffer yourself just on something that is appearing on a platform. And sometimes it can be some small thing about some actress or actor, or you put something and then they start mocking you around. Uh, So there are some places like when you see this is not worth a fight or like even putting a word to it, we can just let it go.
Hmm.
So usually in social media, some places like you have to be very careful, Naveen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Hmm.
but bring awareness or good things and things like should really bring the attention of people, that is totally fine. But that also should not be
Yeah.
like in an anger way, because anger doesn't solve many things, right?
Hmm. Hmm. And also, what will be your advice to parents who are raising children that struggle with anger issues? Right. And these days, especially generation is kind of too fast.
Yeah, Naveen. Okay, I'll just tell you from ancient times how they said that. So
Hmm.
they mentioned like 9 ways or 10 ways anger can arise. Okay,
Yeah.
one is
Yeah.
like somebody did some harm to me in the
Hmm.
past.
Hmm.
That's one. Then they are doing it now, and they may do it in the future. That's three,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? Then somebody did something bad to people I associate or people I care in the past. Uh, Now also they are doing it. They might do in the future. That is six, right?
Yeah.
And the
Hmm.
worst is like if something bad happens to your enemy or whom you dislike,
Hmm.
you become happy, Naveen. That is also
Right.
through anger.
Hmm.
Huh?
Hmm.
Sorry. Yeah, that is sinister, no? And no. If something good happens to your enemy,
Right.
we
Right.
are talking
Hmm.
about anger here, no? Like so,
Hmm.
if something good happens to your enemy in the past, then you also become angry. If some good thing happens to your enemy now, then also you are angry. And in the future also, if something good can happen to them in the future, then also anger. And anger can arise for no reason, proper reason even. The
I
climate,
see. Hmm.
or something like you hit your foot on something,
Right. Right.
or just
Hmm.
agitation, or you are tired, out of no reason. And alcohol, these kind of drugs and all, it can just multiply it. huh?
Hmm.
So coming back
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
what you asked, Naveen, we see sometimes parents, Naveen, say their elder brother or elder sister or something does something to some naughty thing to their child, right?
Yeah.
Then the parents like fakely say, okay, I'll teach her a lesson or him a lesson, and just like fakely start like hitting this person, no? Or just
Correct.
not showing
Yeah.
like they were
Yeah.
punished for the other
Correct.
So what it does is it gives the child, okay, if something bad happens to me or something I don't like happens to me, I should punish them. Huh?
Hmm.
And then other thing is like, if even if it's a root or a tree or like a table or a chair, sometimes our
Mhm.
parents take like a stick or something or a spoon or something. Okay, I'll teach this one a good lesson. And so you see the baby also later starts hitting that or kicking
Right.
it. So what happens from a very tiny time in their life, this triggers the inner anger within them.
I
And they
see.
don't know
Mhm.
later it will turn towards the parents even. If you do this bad to me, okay, you taught me this. This is what happens, because they like a little snake for that matter, right? They don't know anything else. No, they know how to bite only.
Right.
They were
Yeah.
born so as a natural instinct, they would do that, right? And
Yeah.
we also
Hmm.
have that venom inside us also from past life.
Mhm.
So what
Hmm.
parents do, they can, or elders can do, is they can bring it up, Naveen. Huh? They can bring it up,
Mhm.
and then what happens? It triggers. Later, it can
Right.
go on in their family lives, or like trauma that comes from generation to generation. They do it to their children. So it can go on and on and on. So the best thing is like, if yeah, the children should be disciplined and all these things, but kind and firm. But I'm not telling it's easy or anything. But anger, aggression, and all what help, even the respect factor will reduce towards them. Maybe they will be afraid of
Hmm.
you or parents,
Right.
right? But later on,
Mhm.
soon as they get the chance, they'll like try to free themselves. And then at some point, when the parents are elderly, it can come back to them even. You, this is the way you treated us. Now this is
Right.
your turn now. So they can be very harsh on the parents where they are talking, or when they become teenagers. You see some children, like even if they're teenagers, the way they talk to their parents, right? Some are very respectful, very kind, but some are so harsh, right? Even in
Yeah.
adopted children, sometimes like they are adopted to a good family, but they put out very harsh words. They are very aggressive. Yeah? So because their former family or their real family were very aggressive
Mhm.
towards them or abusive even. Huh? So
Yeah.
that goes a very long way. It can traumatize the child. Even for adults, it can come back to them, as well as it can disrupt many things in their life. So it's always too good to understand though, and to
Mhm.
reflect like how we would have been at that particular age.
Mhm.
What would
Mhm. Yeah.
we do? Then try to be
Yeah.
reasonable and think of their better future, and then
Right.
take measures and all, but not
Mhm.
totally punishing them. But there are ways like, if you just let it go also, that also can be very harmful for the child.
Yeah.
Modern
Yeah.
days,
Yeah.
like there are so many rules and all, and
Hmm.
they say like, oh, you should
Mhm.
not do, they have their rights, all these things. It's abuse. But
Hmm.
it
Mhm.
is not the case,
Yeah.
because they can just go awkward because just because of that. And some disciplined families, their children become very good people after all.
Yeah.
So it's a very balanced and a very sensitive thing to do,
Mhm.
for especially parents, no, to or adults to in approach, or like when taking care of little children, surely teachers and
Yeah.
everybody, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. Great. So, as we come to the conclusion, my next question is like, if someone is struggling with chronic anger, what are the first three steps they should take to heal?
Uh-huh. Uh, yeah. So there are so many things, and we can do many methods. One thing is we can talk about a few even, Naveen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So one is
Yeah.
like immediate techniques to calm down.
Right.
Immediate, there should be immediate some solution, right?
Right.
So for example, like the deep breathing, like we talked
Mm-hmm.
about 478, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So those are, they say even to count to 10, Naveen, or more.
Hmm.
And if
Hmm. Hmm.
very
Hmm.
angry, you can even count to 50 or 100.
Oh wow. Hmm.
Yeah, so then it changes the time. It's better to count more, I think. And
Right.
then walk
Yeah.
away from the situation. Like
Mm-hmm.
removing yourself from the triggers. Or what if it's somebody else,
Right.
no? Take a walk, go out. I remember, Naveen, one time they interviewed, actually a reporter had gone and asked elderly couple, like, how did you be together here like for such a long time, because they were there for like more than 50 years, no, together. Then the
Yeah. Yeah.
husband had showed their look, that's the reason. Then when they look, it was a hat. It seems, no? You have heard this, I think, no? And then they was
Yeah.
like surprised, how can a hat, is it a magic hat or something, no? So he said, whenever my wife got angry with me, I would put up my hat and go for a walk. And when I come back after walk, she would cool down and ask, how are you? Would you like something to eat? But they were so the hat saved the marriage. So going for a walk.
A good
Maybe
one.
you get some hats or something, right? All the guys get hats, no, next time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then
Yeah. So.
go to another room or go outside if possible. And there are like you can do visualizations also if possible, in another place.
Right.
Like these are more bigger steps we can take. That there are guided meditations and all these kind of things. There are audios on places like the internet also. There are good things, and then you can listen to them, and it can take you to like a peaceful place, like a beach,
Right.
mountain, garden, and we can focus on details like things that bring more calmness to your mind. And we can do
Hmm.
things like
Hmm.
exercises even, uh, like
Right.
to put out that energy. Some people, like we said, like
Right.
do running, walking, even punching a punching bag. So
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm.
even stretching exercises. So as
Yeah.
long time anger management systems, we can see the
Right.
pattern or recognize the pattern. If you want, you can use help from like counselors or like even psychologists. It's not a bad thing, right? Because some people
Yeah. Yeah.
need
Hmm.
anger management. Then you can keep
Hmm.
a journal and write down. And then you can look at the
Hmm.
patterns yourself and you can get professional or good help even.
Hmm. Hmm.
We
Hmm.
can change the negative patterns that are affecting and the triggers that are happening. Uh,
Hmm.
Instead of like thinking like, okay, why does it always happen to me? Why do I have
Yeah.
to get frustrated? Huh? Oh, I
Hmm.
cannot handle it. No, I cannot stand it no more. Without that negative pattern,
Right.
we can turn it around. Sometimes it's not so big as what we assumed it was. And
Right.
one big thing is communication. Huh? Communication is a good thing without blaming other people. If you can ask, like, why did you do that? Why did you say
Right.
such? Because sometimes we can just be angry and assume things, no? Uh,
Yeah.
Even a glance of a person, or maybe this person looks angry. Why did this happen? Or maybe because I didn't give that how that small amount of money or something this person asked. Maybe I didn't do that favor for this person. Like it can go on and on and on like that. Huh? And then
Hmm.
without the negative words like you never listen to me, you are not always there, these kind of things. We can bring like a healthy way.
Right.
So there are people who do very nice things like listening to music, painting, even playing music.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
a laughter is a good thing to like remove a lot of stress. Huh? And surely
Yeah.
meditation and mindfulness methods, like we talk about loving kindness meditation, many people know it just by one small sitting, they start feeling
Hmm.
the difference. Huh?
Wow.
So
Loving
there's
kindness
emotional
meditation. Hmm.
healing. And one of the
Hmm.
another biggest thing is learning to forgive oneself and the others. That's a
Yeah.
big thing. And if we
Yeah.
can build a good support system around you, a good friend, or a partner or even your family, no,
Mm-hmm.
some like that. Even it could be your counselor, or some spiritual friend. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
you can find there are always good people, no, not only the bad. And
Right. Right.
emotional
Yeah.
awareness. So these are like very good things, and these should be done now in like before. It's not like you go to do something and you start looking at the catalog. Say you go to some professional job. Say you are a surgeon, no, and then you don't take it out and you look, how should I use the scalpel, or like
Right.
what is the procedure here? No, you don't do like YouTube tutorial or something, or how to do operation, no. The patient will die, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
like there's a preparation. You build the buffers on. You have all this
Hmm.
protective shield around you. There's a beautiful example for this now. It says in the
Mm-hmm.
ancient times there were archers and all, right, who used to say,
Yeah.
uh, so they, or the warriors used to wear like a protective armor, huh?
I see.
And then if a person was wearing this protective armor, say like many hours per the day, maybe 23 hours, and he wanted a
Right.
toilet or she wanted a toilet break or something, and just
Mm-hmm.
removed it and hung it somewhere, then suddenly arrow comes
Yeah.
and strikes this person. This person
Hmm.
cannot complain, right? Oh, I was wearing this for
Yeah.
23 hours.
Yeah.
How dare you shoot at this time? Because there will always be arrows shot at you mostly. It could be the
Right. Right.
climate, it could be something on the news,
Hmm.
on the internet. There can be
Hmm. Hmm.
plenty of
Hmm.
things or reasons
Hmm.
we can we might want to become angry.
Hmm.
But it's not necessary, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if we
Hmm.
wear this protective armor of mindfulness, things like loving kindness or deep wisdom, even if we
Hmm. Hmm.
always
Hmm.
have it with us, those arrows won't strike us. They'll
Right.
just drop off, no?
Yeah.
So likewise, we can have a prepared version of us that is like how to say, like resistant. Like if
Right.
our immune
Mm-hmm.
system is strong, we do exercises, eat good and all, like we sleep well and all these things, we are immune
Right.
to many illnesses, right? Likewise
Yeah. Yeah.
mentally
Yeah.
also, if you build that immune system through you,
Mm-hmm.
then you can be immune to things like anger also.
Yeah. Wonderful. I loved all the examples, and this has been a great conversation. So, before I wind up, I want to ask a few questions to the audience. So,
Oh,
folks,
sure.
think of a recent situation where you felt intense anger. And was your reaction driven by the present moment, or was it influenced by past experiences or unresolved emotions? Just think about it. And when you get angry, do you express it, suppress it, or transform it? So, how
Mhm.
does your approach impact your relationships and also well being? So, if you're watching this live, you can comment there, or if you have found this later, you can share your thoughts in the form of comments. All right, so that's wonderful. And as we wrap up today's session on the angry mind with Yogi Sanjivana, I hope you are walking away with some deep reflections about the role anger plays in our lives. And anger is not just an emotion, it is a messenger. It reveals our fears, wounds, and also
Mhm.
unmet expectations. And the
Sure.
key is not to suppress or explode, but to understand and transform it, as Yogi Sanjivana shared. Mastering the angry mind is about awareness, balance, and most importantly, conscious response. So let's take a moment to reflect, how can we turn our anger into a force for growth rather than destruction? All right. So thank you, sir, Yogi Sanjivana, again for
Okay.
your wisdom, and thanks to our audience also for engaging in this powerful conversation. So until next time, stay mindful, stay balanced, and keep exploring the untold side of the mind. So see you all in the next episode with Yogi Sanjivana ji as part of this untold side of the mind. So thank you once
Thank you
again,
so much,
Sanjivana ji.
Navin.
Have a have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thank you.